more for you, you feel it. You know it. This is your life, and it's time to go from contender to champion. This is The Show with John Madsen.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. This is The Show. Super excited to be here, guys. And I got a good little short, compact podcast for you today. We're going to tap into the power of belief. Obviously, I've mentioned this on some of my previous shows, but I don't think I've touched on this in the last little while. So forgive me if I have. Sometimes we're about 130 episodes in. Some of you guys have listened to every single episode, I know, because I get DMs all the time. And for you loyal listeners, I truly appreciate your support. I appreciate you sharing. It helps this show grow. With that being said, sometimes my brain, I get into flow state when I'm doing a podcast, and I literally almost forget what I said. And so I don't know if I've said stuff in conversation, or I don't know if I've said stuff to my wife, or I don't know if I've said stuff on this podcast. So sometimes you're going to get a little bit of repeat, but repetition is something that we all could use, especially with what I want to talk about today. And the message today, what we're going to tap into is the power of belief. The power of believing in something. And I want to start by telling you a little story about a study that was done on elementary age kids. I read this out of a book, and I don't know the exact study, so obviously don't quote me on this, but the gist of it was this. There was a group of students, and these students were average intelligence. They had their intelligence tested, and they weren't fast learners. They weren't slow learners. They were just average. And the students were then divided into two groups of students. So if you have kids, I want you to think about this right now. And just what I'm implying and what this study implies, I want you to really think about it because it's important. So these kids were divided into two groups. And one of the groups was given to a teacher, and the teacher was told that her students or his students were fast learners, above average intelligence, and that they needed to be on the teacher needed to be on his or her toes because these kids could learn and learn fast. And the other group of students was given to a teacher who was told that his or her students was slow learners, and they were going to need to have more help, and they couldn't learn as fast as normal kids. Note that the kids didn't know anything. All that was implanted was a single belief in two different people, the teacher of the one group and the other teacher of the other group. That was it. Now, after a full year of teaching, the students were retested, and you already know how this is going to end. The students who were given to the teacher who believed that they were quick learners out-tested by far the group of students who was given to a teacher who thought that they were slow learners. So when you take this story and you think about it, the kids themselves did not believe that they were any more or any less. In the beginning, the teachers were the only one with this power of belief. The two teachers. Now, the teachers didn't think that they were going to teach any differently. They were just going to teach how they always taught. But the thing that really happens is at an unconscious level, the little micro behaviors that are created by a different belief that was falsely implanted created different outcome. It created a different outcome because the teachers at a micro level taught differently based on their faulty belief pattern. So I have a child now, and most of you listening probably are parents too. So if you're a parent and you have kids, whether they're in elementary school or they're in high school, how important is it for them to have people around them that believe in them? that implant this belief system inside of them. Because if one person can have an incredible impact one way or another based on their belief system, how important is it that these kids have their own belief system too, in addition to whoever they're looking at as mentors or friends or in that advisory role, which a teacher is. These teachers better be fucking good. These teachers, especially in that young formative age, are speaking to walking, talking unconscious minds. And these walking, talking unconscious minds, your kids are taking on belief systems, literally implanting them. The power of suggestion, guys, is incredible. If you don't know what this is, I want you to go to Netflix and I want you to look up Derren Brown, Derren Brown. And I want you to watch this show called Push. Watch Push. There's another one called Miracle, which is a stage show. And this guy's a mentalist and a hypnotist and a magician. And so if you wanted to watch Miracle first, you'd be like, oh my God, that's insane. But watch Push. Watch Push. And I'm not going to say anything about it, but when you're thinking of the story I just told you and the power of suggestion coming from a teacher, and then what Darren's going to do to these 4 people using suggestion and triggers, and these are grown adults and what they could be pushed to do, it'll blow your mind. It'll literally blow your mind. And hopefully it'll bring some awareness that we have to be conscious of things. We absolutely have to be conscious of who we're putting our kids in front of, who we're putting ourselves in front of. Because this power of belief is the most powerful thing in the world. It is the most powerful thing in the world. The only reason I got to the NFL is because I believed it was possible. Here's another story that I probably have shared in the past. Our very first meeting that we had at the University of Utah with Coach Urban Meyer was at a barbecue. We ate a bunch of food, and this was the first team meeting getting ready to go into summer camp. Urban, at the end of our food, got up and wanted to say a few words. And he said, guys, here's the thing. I've coached at prestigious universities. I've GA'd at prestigious universities. At this time, Urban was probably 36 years old. And he said, I've been around great football teams. I've been around great football programs. As I look at you guys, the talent that you have, you will be a top 5 program. And as a Utah kid growing up in Utah, seeing Utah break into the top 25 every once in a while, we were just coming off of a season where we were like 5-7. And if we were ranked preseason, we wouldn't have been ranked in the top 50. In fact, we were picked to take 7th in the Mountain West the following year, which is the year Urban was talking about. We're a top 5 program. And we all kind of looked around at each other. I'll never forget this. I looked at faces that I can see right now today, and we kind of looked at each other with this understanding that, like, this guy's kind of crazy. I don't know if he knows where he's at right now. We are not Michigan. We are not Ohio State. We are the University of Utah. But a funny thing happened. In that mentor role, because Urban was a champion and everything he did was championship minded, and the staff that he brought in was comprised of champions, and the language that they used every single time they addressed the team and the way we practiced hard as fuck made us believe that we were doing things like a championship program would do. Now, we go out and we play our first game, but leading up to that point, every time we were addressed as if we were a top 5 program. And little by little, we started to doubt our doubts. We started to doubt the fact that we were the University of Utah. And then when we go out in the first game, we win by a large margin. We believe it a little bit more. We're like, wow, maybe we are. Maybe he's right. And then we go into Texas A&M and we're down 28-0. And then that doubt comes crashing back into our belief system like a wave of, oh man, like maybe he is crazy. Maybe we were right. But then we make this incredible comeback and we lose 28-26. That was one of our 2 losses that year. But a funny thing happened the following week. an Aaron Rodgers-led Cal team came into Rice Eccles, which is our home field, and they were ranked in the top 20. They were ranked like 15 or 16. It was the largest crowd at the time in Utah football history. And we went out there on a Thursday or Friday night on ESPN, and we defeated, it was Alex Smith's first start against Aaron Rodgers for any football fans, and we defeated Cal, and we celebrated like we won the fucking championship. I'll never forget the locker room, throwing waters of bottles and singing from the top of our lungs, from the window to the motherfucking wall. Anybody know that song? You know what I'm talking about. We played that on repeat, and we were celebrating like we won the championship. So a little bit, so then our doubt is getting bigger. Not our doubt that we were championship caliber, our doubt that we were the old University of Utah. Our old identity was, we were shedding that shit. Our belief system was growing, and we were doubting our old belief system. The very next week, see, back then we were in the Mountain West, which was, a little brother to the Pac-10. In came Oregon with their stupid fucking feathers and their Nike outfit from head to toe. I say stupid because we were all jealous. I'll never forget us looking at, I wonder what kind of uniforms they're going to come out today, because this was like back in 2003 or 4 when Oregon was one of the only teams that were just wearing a different uniform every single time that they went out and played. So they came out, they had feathers on their shoulder pads, they were in all white, and we were like, holy shit, they look good, right? They're Nike from head to toe. They were ranked in the top 20 as well. We beat Oregon, we beat Cal the week previous, and then we just beat a top 20 Oregon team. Now we have proof. Now this man that came into the old University of Utah and told us that we were a championship caliber, now we have proof. Now we just beat Cal and we just beat Oregon, and I think we may have cracked the top 15 ourselves at this point. I don't remember exactly. But the point is this is Urban's first year. We go on to go 10-2 and win the Liberty Bowl, and I think we finished the season ranked in the top 25. But we carried that momentum. And at that point, and through the whole offseason, because we believed we worked harder than any other team, and we had this belief system that the harder we work and the harder we practice, the bigger our edge was against any of our opponents. And so we took that fuel and that belief system that was built, because it wasn't ready yet, and we used it throughout the whole offseason. And then going into my junior year, which was our Fiesta Bowl year, we had this belief that nobody could beat us. And if there was any doubt, I'm recording this podcast, and the reason I remembered this is because 16 years ago today, we played Texas A&M in our stadium as the opener to our Fiesta Bowl year. And if there was any doubt, we were doubting how good we could possibly be, because now we're talking top 5. Now we think we're Michigan. Now we think we're Ohio State. Now the old university of the past is fucking gone. And we come out in that first quarter on ESPN national television, and we're up 28-0 faster than you could even fucking get your popcorn and get a beer. Literally. If you were late, you would have seen us 28-0. And at that moment, I'll never forget the same faces that I saw from the barbecue when Urban said we were a top 5 team. Now we believe that shit in our hearts. We went on to go undefeated, win the Fiesta Bowl. We believe we could beat anybody that year, and we finished ranked 4th in the nation. And I think about that story, and I think about the study that was done on those elementary kids. And I think about my role as a mentor, coaching fitness, coaching business, and having fitness professionals now come to me and want help consulting on their businesses. And what it comes down to is that every single one of us are running these stories. We're running these templates on what our reality is in our life based on our belief systems, based on things that were said to us, or based on belief systems that we took on as little kids that we're still running as adults, based on the way we think life should be. And these systems, these very templates for what life in our mind should be, are the exact things that are holding us back from reaching the life that we really want. And the only reason or the only way for us to ascend to the next level is to get out of this comfort zone or get out of this current reality or get out of these systems of beliefs that we've built and get the fuck out of our own way. You see, and it's really hard to do on our own. So if I had one tip for you, if I had one single tip for you, it would be to find somebody who could shake that belief system to its core, who had enough power to rattle the way you thought your world should be, to have an Urban Meyer come in. I was lucky that I got to see this happen, to have an Urban Meyer come in and rattle our belief system as a collective unit to the core. If you're a CEO of a business and you need to turn the revenue around or you need to turn your company around, that belief from you has to be so strong it's palpable throughout the organization. That is the change that you need. If you don't have that, it's not going to magically happen. When you send your kids to school, be careful who they're learning from. If you doubt yourself right now, you have to find somebody, even as an adult right now, driving your car at the gym, wondering, how I think of this stuff right now. You have to, if you want to break out of your current situation, change your belief systems. Change the way reality is constructed in your brain. Change the stories and the bullshit that you tell yourself every single day. The only thing you really need to do is remove yourself out of the way from yourself. Now, most people can't do it on their own. I couldn't do it on my own. Urban showed up for me at the right time. But in fitness, when I have people come into my world, usually they don't know who they can be. They can't see that far yet. I can see it because I've done it on myself and I've done it on thousands of other people. So sometimes when people doubt themselves, they use me as a mentor to show them and to shake that belief system up a little bit, get them to doubt it for a long enough period for then to shed it completely and never think the same way again. If that means hiring a coach, fucking do it. You're going to save yourself 10 years. Whether that's fitness or business, doesn't have to be me. You better find someone that you believe in, though. You have to believe in them. It's no different than the placebo effect, which people literally take sugar pills and the sugar pills outperform pharmaceutical drugs most of the time. The people believe that they're taking a pill and it's going to make them feel different, and it makes them feel different. That power of belief is the most powerful thing in the world. If you want to change your life, you have to start doubting your doubts. You have to change your belief system. And if you need help doing it, fucking do it. Stop waiting. Because the longer you wait, the longer you're going to be constrained to the reality you don't want. If I could give any single person one piece of advice, it would be to find somebody. Find somebody who believes in a possibility that you want a little bit more than you, and you can feed off that belief from them long enough until you make it your own.
Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of The Show with John Madsen. The greatest compliment that you could give us is liking, loving, and sharing this episode with all of your friends. So please go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and then share it online with everyone that you know. Make sure to tag John as well. He loves to hear from listeners of the show. The links for all of his socials and iTunes are in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to engage John for anything related to his coaching, consulting, or programs, please visit johnmadsen.com for everything you'd need to know on how to engage with John offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Show.